Hello and welcome to The Good Stuff Live. My name is Dave Sundstrom. And you know what? I like to talk about music, movies, and mostly television from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. The good stuff. So I am super excited to see that we've already got a bunch of people with me in the live stream. Hello to Todd Fowler. He's giving me a hard time because these live streams are typically on Wednesday, and I had to postpone it. I actually had it scheduled for Wednesday and then realized that one of my sons had a birthday on Wednesday, and well, you got to have your priorities, right? So I spent time with the family last night and postponed that live stream until tonight. So thanks to everyone for being flexible and joining me on a Thursday evening. We will resume our normal Wednesday schedule next week. You know what I'm thinking? I'm feeling like we might do a watch party. It feels like it's time. We did a bunch of watch parties around the holiday season. And you know what? I kind of miss those. Those are a lot of fun watching shows with you guys and putting the chats on the screen as we watch the show. So anyway, here's that comment from Todd. As far as 414 goes, something suddenly came up. I was just talking to someone on one of my videos about that classic Brady episode, which had Nicholas Hammond, yes, Peter Parker, the Spider-Man, as a guest star, Doug something or other, one of the jocks at the school, and Marcia canceled a date with her good friend Charlie to go out with Doug, and the line she uses is something suddenly came up. And then I'm sure many of you have seen this episode. Her nose gets swollen because she's hit in the face with a football, an errant football. And then, wouldn't you know it, Doug cancels their date because something suddenly came up. Anyway, yeah, something did come up yesterday, Todd. And what can I say? It was more important than the live stream. Hard to believe, but true. Let's see. Oh, we'll skip this one. Looks like some folks, my friend Tom was trying to figure out when this thing actually started. And Kenneth, welcome, came to his rescue, 8:30 Eastern, 6:30 Dave Sundstrom time. So welcome Tom and Kenneth and TP. Thrash Pondo Pons, welcome. Great to have you with us this evening. Kevin Pine, yes, indeed. Mr. French was a gentleman's gentleman. And let's see what else we got going on here. Tom says Kathy Garber lives in the San Francisco Bay Area and does the local convention circuit. She'll be at one next month. She was actually at one in my neighboring state, Idaho, not too long ago. I saw some posts from her on Facebook. Let's see what else we've got. Tracy Roth Myers, welcome. Great to have you with us. David Niesner, you're very welcome. I enjoyed putting that video up on my Dave Sundstrom Live channel. Let's see what else we've got. Who else is here? Justin, a.k.a. Braidwood Inn. Great to have you with us. And, well, perhaps by the end of the hour or so, you will know a little bit more about a family affair, or I should just say family affair, and know why I enjoy it so much. Winston's mom says, hi, Dave Sundstrom. While we wait, we can show Dave our good stuff and hit the like button. Winston's mom, you know what? I knew you were good people. Yeah, I would appreciate it if each of you would remember to hit the like button on this video. And if for some reason you still aren't subscribed to my channel, I would appreciate that as well. Let's see where we are here. Okay, David Niesner says, thanks for the reminder. Cindy D is in the house. Welcome, Cindy. Great to have you with us. Let's see who else is here. Looking at the comments, Georgia Ayers is in the house. Welcome, Georgia. Good to have you here. And 03 is here as well. Yes, Tom, his name was Nicholas Hammond, played Doug Simpson on that episode of the Brady Bunch. Todd Fowler, good to have you here. Yeah, thank you, all you Wednesday nighters, for being so flexible. Yep, that was the Oh My Nose episode of the Brady Bunch. Dolph Quick, hi, good to have you here. And Jim Backus, Just got the notification. Awesome. Great. Good to have you here. And I'm so happy to hear that you do enjoy the channel. John McJunkin, longtime subscriber and community member. Welcome. Great to have you here. Let's see. Tuck Graff, good to have you with us on the live stream tonight. Custom God, awesome to have you here. And Charlie Jordan, cheers to you, my friend. Michael Toos, how's it going? And I think I might be all caught up. As Todd Fowler says, group in session. So we got 43 people in the live stream with us right now. That's awesome. Please, I would encourage everyone to participate in the chat. As much fun as it is for me to talk, I love just kind of glancing on over there and seeing what's going on in terms of the conversation. Gary, welcome. Good to have you here. And Braidwood in. Justin, yes, you made a couple watch-along suggestions. I just don't know if I can pull them off because what I believe, if I remember reading the email, was you were suggesting some episodes of Three's Company. And the problem that I run across is those are still copyrighted. What I have to do with watch parties is I have to find videos that have fallen into the public domain. And those are hard to find. Well, harder to find than one might think. Every once in a while, you'll find something like a Beverly Hillbillies episode or the Lucy Show episode that have fallen into the public domain because the copyright holder forgot to renew that copyright. But most often, those shows from the 60s and 70s are still protected by copyright and have to be very careful about what I broadcast on this channel. Mark, my buddy down in Pleasant Grove, great to have you with us this evening. TP, thank you so much for helping your mom with her groceries. You know what? We waited for you. So it's good to have you here. John, we are going to talk about Family Affair for sure. So just I want to make sure that we welcome as many people as we can where Nomad has gone before. Great to have you with us as well. And I love that image on your with your YouTube profile. That's awesome. Wendy F. Litton, great to have you here. And Shady Pines, awesome to have you with us on the live stream this evening. Off Quick says, Mr. French was in the remake of Miracle on 34th Street. Yes, he was. He was in the 1970, I'm not sure what year, but version of that show, which I actually like quite a bit. Folks are greeting each other. Love to see that and have goals. Good to have you here. I'm glad this is a favorite of yours because it is a favorite of mine. Nick Mamonis, good to have you in the house this evening. And yes, sir, Johnny Whitaker did indeed play on Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. We'll talk a little bit about that. Yeah, Georgia, it really does. You got to be super careful. What I don't want to do is ever do anything that might get the channel in trouble and get it shut down by YouTube. Clock Radio says, the strange thing is that CBS chose to schedule Family Affair at 9:30 p.m. on Monday nights. Way too late for a show like that. For me, that wasn't a big deal because I didn't actually discover the show until it was in reruns. Oh, the Three Stooges, always worthy of commentary, Mark. And Regina Tierney, good to have you with us, and hopefully you will enjoy tonight's live stream. Doug Dennis says, I've been watching your channel since the day after the COVID shutdowns began. I'm a retired history teacher and love watching your videos. Well, thank you very much, Doug, and thank you for being a teacher. That is, you know what? I don't envy you guys. It's a tough job. There's obviously some great things and some huge rewards in being a teacher, but sometimes there's some real challenges there as well. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for helping the youth of tomorrow. Shady Pines, great name. Indeed it is. And Danny Staten, is always delightful to have you in the house. I'm doing great. And let's see, I'm late. I was being inducted into a live stream Hall of Fame. It's true. It's darn true. I can't wait to hear more about that, Danny. Okay, Gary Sorrell says, or Sorrell, I might be saying that wrong. And if I am, sorry, Gary. Does anyone here remember the CBS Radio Mystery Theater hosted by E.G. Marshall? I do. As a matter of fact, at some point in the future, I'm going to do a video on the CBS Radio Mystery Theater. I grew up on it as well. It was one of the things I would listen to as I was trying to go to bed each night. You know, E.G. Marshall. And here's the weird thing. The other day, I was watching an episode of The Twilight Zone, an episode with Elizabeth Montgomery, to be exact, and Charles Bronson, called One. And the music in that episode is the same music they use at the beginning of CBS Radio Mystery Theater. Doug Dennis says, oh, I've been subscribed since then. Well, great. Thank you so much. If I haven't said this in the comments or previously, Doug, thank you for being a subscriber. Let's see what else we've got here. Mark Burchett mentions another favorite actor of mine, Victor French, who was in Little House on the Prairie. And let's see what we got going here. I'm actually going to pay a little less attention to the comments for a few minutes. Please don't hold that against me. And I'm going to bring on board a special guest that I have with us tonight. So let me do this. I'm a StreamYard newbie. Well, not a newbie, but I still feel kind of a little bit, I don't know, still learning. So let me add this feller. Jack from Crazy Hank TV. Welcome, my friend.
Well, thanks. Thanks for the invite. Glad to be here.
Good to have you here. By the way, this episode, this live stream is brought to you by Diet Coke and Remind Magazine. So two of my favorite things to do, sip on a Diet Coke and read Remind Magazine. By the way, I'm sponsored by neither product, but I love them so much that I thought I'd mention them.
That's nice of you.
Yeah. So what are you up to these days?
I'm retired, babysitting grandkids, watching TV, all that fun stuff, you know.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with hanging out with the grandkids. Hopefully while you're doing that, you're introducing them to great shows like Family Affair. What do you watch with the grandkids?
I've actually tried to get them on different shows, but they're still kind of, well, I have a grandson that's 6, but the other ones are 3, 2, and 18 months. So they're still young. They still watch like Cocomelon and all those fun shows. So
yeah. What was the name of there was a show when my kid with an octopus guy that was voiced by Fred Savage. Does anyone remember that show?
Octopus guy.
Oh man, my kid loved it, and I'll know it as soon as I. Yeah,
I did try to get him hooked on Herbie the Love Bug, and they watched it. They watched it for like 15 minutes, and they got distracted.
There was an updated version of the Love Bug that came out in like, I want to say the late 80s, early 90s with Lindsay Lohan.
Right, yeah.
And my oldest son, when he was growing up, really liked that particular movie. So I thought, you know what? I'll introduce him to the Dean Jones one. And man, it didn't work. There's something about the pacing of older movies, and they just don't have that like MTV brisk editing style that movies have these days, and kids, they really get impatient with them. If a scene goes too long, they turn away from them. So
I still like the older one, but that's just me. But I'm old, so
yeah. Hey, you've got good taste. That's what I say. Oswald, Winston's mom. Thank you so much for being there for me. Oswald, voiced by Fred Savage, the main character, 4 arms, 4 legs, lives in a apartment complex with Henry the Penguin. By the way, Henry the Penguin was voiced by, if I remember correctly, David Landers, who is also known as Squiggy from Lenny and Squiggy.
Oh.
So, hey, Emily Miller's in the house. Hi, Emily. So good to have you with us. Tyrell Bellinger. Let's see. Tom says he just got his 2nd issue of Remind Magazine. Probably got the same one that I have right there. Then the Hollywood Heaven edition, which has Michael Landon on the cover. Really great issue so far. I've got it right next to, it's situated, normally it's situated in the bathroom. It's my reading material, the library, I like to call that. Let's see what we've got. Alicia's with us as well. I might be saying that wrong. That might be Alicia, but I think it's Alicia. It's probably just spelled a little differently. And Mr. Zook's Twilight Zone Days. Howdy. Good to have you with us. Let's see. Is there anyone else? We've got 65 people here with us in the live stream. That's freaking Awesome. All right. Zen Wayne just arrived. Welcome. Good to have you with us as well. So let's talk a little bit about, and wow, DOA version 2.0 and Spike Spikerson. Awesome to have you both here as well. Let's talk a little bit. I don't want to talk too much about our family affair because we've got a quiz coming up.
I got this theme song in my head.
That's got, by the way, that's great music.
Yeah.
That theme music by Duvall, hopefully that's the way to say it. And the starting is like, I don't know if you remember it, it's like these jewels that the camera pans over while the words show up, and you got this jaunty music. And, here's the thing about a family affair. I want to keep saying a family affair, which reminds me of a current affair that used to be Bill O'Reilly. That new show. It's Family Affair. Here's the thing about Family Affair. It's really a wonderful show, but it's got a real underlying tone of melancholy to it. And let's see what we've got here. Hang on one second. Mr. Led, welcome. Good to have you here. And I think I missed someone else. Bus Stop, great to have you here as well. But just a real, I don't know if you remember, Jack, but the kids this family's thrown together by tragedy.
Right.
You remember that?
Yeah, it was a car accident. It actually really kind of dark.
Yeah.
When you think about it, especially for that time period.
Very dark. There is the second episode of this show. There's a moment where Jody, Johnny Whitaker's character, wakes up in the middle of the night, and it's heartbreaking because the first thing he says, he's scared.
Right.
The first thing he says is "Mom," which is what any kid would do. And then the look on his face as he realizes Mom's not there. Mom will never be there again. And that he's reliant upon, this cobbled together family. Well, it's just, like I said, it's a really great show, particularly the early episodes. I'm revisiting them now, but it's a great show, but there is definitely this underlying tone of sadness. Do you have a favorite character, Jack?
I always liked Jody. I mean, about the same age. So.
Yeah, I was a big Johnny Whitaker fan. So, but both of those kids, the twins, were,
and they look alike.
Yeah. Here's the funny thing: was when the show was originally created, and they came up with that initial pilot episode, which, by the way, if you watch the pilot episode, the very first episode, and then you see the next 2 or 3 episodes, it's clear that there's an amount of time that has passed between that pilot episode and when it was filmed and the rest of them from season 1, because a couple of things. Brian Keith's hair in the pilot episode is gray, and then with the rest of the episodes in the first season, it's kind of a blonde. They've tried to make him look younger. And the kids they just look a little bit younger in that first episode, but they're so darn cute. They weren't originally written as twins. Oh, Johnny Whitaker was the first to be cast, I believe. And if I've heard him tell this story, he, the little girl Anissa who plays Buffy came in, and once they were like reading against each other and acting, just as they were kind of rehearsing, and Anissa was auditioning for the role, everybody that was involved with the show realized that these two, they look like twins, they behaved like a brother and sister together, and so they went back and they rewrote scripts and changed things to make the two twins, which it's a stroke of genius that they were able to recognize that.
Again, good casting too, because like I said, they look like twins.
Absolutely. I'm going to click on my friend Steve, who runs another YouTube channel called The Life and Sad Ending. Many of you've seen probably some of his videos. There's a lot of knockoffs out there now that they've caught on to his. That was great SEO when he came up with the channel The Life and Sad Ending, because other channels have picked up on that. Now there's like 1 million Life and Sad Ending videos out there, and but there's only one that's really good, where there's some love put into the creation of those videos, and that's Steve's channel. And he's right. It was the entire cast, right? And including Brian Keith and Sebastian Cabot. The entire cast was great. Now, there was one thing, however, I've got to say that wasn't so great. And we talked a little bit about this earlier, Jack. Oh, wait, you know what? Sigmund and the Sea Monsters was great. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm going to just keep going on. This thing. This thing was not so great. Mrs. Beasley. Now, this morning, I posted a poll out on the channel, and I asked this question. Mrs. Beasley, friend or foe? And I mean, think about this for a minute before you just go and click on the old friend button. Think about what we've got here. We've got this creature. Well, I should say doll. I'm biasing myself. We've got this doll who basically never is always watching little Buffy. Always watching. There's never a time when, as a matter of fact, well, there is a time. There's a couple times where early on Buffy tries to ditch the doll. One time when Mr. French is leaving, he's had enough, and so he packs his bags and takes off. Buffy puts the doll in his suitcase, and who knows why, but he comes back, and I'm thinking that it might have had something to do with the doll. He realized that he didn't want to be stuck with that doll.
No.
Anyway, so there is this. Let me throw this over here real quick so for everyone can see, and I'll do a refresh. But the survey question is Mrs. Beasley, friend or foe? And clearly about 2/3 of you are misled about the innocuous nature of this doll. And you say that Mrs. Beasley is a friend, 420 votes. And 63% of you say that the doll is almost as cute as Buffy herself. Whereas 37 of you, really the kind of the sharper individuals here on the live stream tonight, recognize that just like Chucky, that fiendish doll is up to no good. So here's what I'll do, folks. Let me just quickly highlight that. I'm going to go ahead and throw this into the chat. And if you want to, if anybody feels so inclined, you can go ahead and vote on that. Well, let's see if we can make it a little bit. I'd love to see that foe, those voting for foe, be at least over 40%. Come on, aren't there 4 in 10 of you that recognize who, just what this Mrs. Beasley doll is? There's got to be at least 4 in 10 of you that realize that. So anyway, I'll refresh this and we'll update that later on in the live stream. Okay, so before I go any further, let me add another feller to the live stream. Ian.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. We're live.
Awesome.
And we're already rolling.
Who's our friend? Who's our friend here?
Jack from Crazy
Mrs. Beasley.
No, please, folks. Who's our foe? Our foe. So we've got about 70 people with us in the live stream, Ian, and we are just kind of talking a little bit about family affair, and we've talked a little bit about the show. I thought we might talk for a minute or so about the actors themselves, and we can start with Anissa. I saw something in the comment section. By the way, let's see. DOA V2.0. I don't know if I've welcomed you. Charlie Varick, welcome. Great to have you with us. Little Wing, great to have you here. I think I mostly got everyone else that's in the chat. If I have missed you, my Skip Rock Jr., welcome. Taylor Downing, welcome. My apologies if I have missed anybody, but let's talk about Anissa Jones. And Georgia, I'm going to just flip this on right now. Make sure you lock that vote in by clicking on the link that was in the chat, because you are dead on correct with that. But let's see. Larry Potter, welcome. Good to have you with us as well. Let's talk about Anissa Jones first. Anissa, of course, Mrs. Beasley's constant companion. Let me make sure that I'm in the right place here. Poor Anissa, after Family Affair ended, really, she struggled. And it's hard. It is very hard for children who are stars of a TV show, because what happens is they fall into this time when they really can't find work because of the laws that are there. Most shows will want to cast someone that's over the age of 18 that looks younger, so that they don't have to be held. There's certain laws around how many hours a child can work. They've got to make sure that they get to go to school and all these kind of things. It's just easier to hire a young looking adult. And so when they hit about 12-ish until they're 18, they really struggle to find work. And a lot of them things just don't go well for them. It's rough. And poor Anissa, that's definitely the case with her. It was an accidental overdose. I remember reading that the coroner said that he hadn't seen that much drugs in someone's system. There was just way too much in there for her little body, and it's just a really sad story. Really impacted Johnny Whitaker, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Johnny, of course, went on. I thought I had the Sigmund picture after this, but clearly I blew that. But he managed to kind of, for whatever reason, he was able to. After Family Affair, he went on and did shows like Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. He was in movies, Napoleon and Samantha, Disney shows with Jodie Foster. He was in Tom Sawyer. I don't know if any of you saw that musical. Great musical. And Johnny had some rough times. He did. A marriage ended that was rough for him, very difficult. But he has dedicated. He still acts. As a matter of fact, if you go to Amazon, you can see a rebooted version of Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, and he owns a portion of the intellectual property of that show. And so he gets some of the profits from that, but he also made a cameo appearance in the first episode. So if you want to do something fun in the evening, it's a really good reboot, and it's fun to kind of catch a little Johnny Whitaker action. It's brief, but the cameo is there. All right. Let's see. So things are going better for Johnny. I was going to say he is now a counselor for people that are struggling with addiction, in particular drug addiction and other sorts of chemical addiction. So spends a lot of time not only helping people. He served an LDS mission. He is a member of the Mormon faith, and he served an LDS mission to Portugal. And Johnny spends a lot of the time in terms of the counseling. I think he knows 5 languages, but spends a lot of time counseling those that speak Portuguese. And
only 5, huh?
Only 5. Pretty talented guy, pretty grounded feller, and wow. I love his story.
How does he hold his head up?
Yeah, exactly. I love his story because you know what, the man has had adversity and has managed to come out the other side. Kathy Garver, I was hoping to have Pat McCormick on with us tonight because he's friends with Kathy. I've visited with her a couple of times, but I know that he talks with her a lot more frequently. She is still there. She's a surviving member of the Family Affair cast, and she hits the Comic-Con and the nostalgia conventions whenever time affords. She hasn't been able to do many of those recently, but she did one in Idaho a couple of weeks ago, and I know she's planning on doing more as things things get better. That's the best way to describe that. And she wrote a great book called Surviving Sissy, part of the Dave Sundstrom Library. I'd recommend it to anybody that is interested in her story. And she's another, long before she was in Family Affairs, she was acting in movies like The Ten Commandments. Brian Keith. Anybody know the story behind that one? I've been talking a lot.
Well, he's the one who had emphysema and lung cancer. And unfortunately, he ended up killing himself, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct. He did.
Yeah.
He committed suicide. There's more to that story, though. Besides having the emphysema and lung cancer, there was a daughter who committed suicide ahead of time. And if I remember right, his note said, I want to go be with Daisy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just a lot of things going on in his life that really led up to that decision. And then Sebastian Cabot was one of the first to go.
Yeah.
And had a stroke.
Yeah.
He just was, I mean, his size was really an issue, right? It was
he was sick during the series, right?
He did. We have a trivia question in a minute about.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, Jack, it's totally fine.
Okay.
The question will be about who substitutes for him.
Okay.
So don't say the name of the individual.
Spoiler alert.
For him.
I have no idea.
Yeah. You remember that? Yeah. There's some episodes early on, like the first season, where he's not around, and that's because he was ill health. Sharp eye, Jack. All right. Anything either of you would add about Family Affair, your memories of the show?
Well, I didn't watch it a whole lot when it was, even when it was in reruns as a kid. I mean, I did watch a lot of reruns, and it totally influenced me. You know, I'd watch the Beverly Hillbillies. I'd watch Andy Griffith. I mean, there were lots of them. And this one came on occasionally, and I never got too into it. This wasn't in our wheelhouse. But I do remember the few episodes that I did see seemed to be kind of like sad, like depressive. Like there was like jokes, like you'd hear the incidental kind of sad music in the background, punctuated by a joke, ha ha ha, and then back to this kind of sad stuff is kind of the impression that I got throughout the whenever I'd watch it. I mean, like there were jokes in there, but it was all revolving around something that was not funny or something like that. As far as I can remember anyway, I might totally be off base.
Yeah, Jack, anything you add?
One show I remember, it always sticks out. I hope it's just not this and not the Andy Griffith Show, but it's one where Jody has a friend where his dad spanks him, and he's trying to get Uncle Bill to spank him because he doesn't think he's loved. Because the boy said my dad spanks me because he loves me. And Uncle Bill never, he didn't believe in spanking. So I remember that episode because it's been a while since I've seen it, but that episode always stuck out in my head that Jody wanted a spanking.
I wish my dad were more like Uncle Bill.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why it stuck out in my head because my parents had no problem with that. So
yeah, that's right. Different time.
They love me too much.
That's right. Exactly. My dad loved the heck out of me.
Yeah.
But
that's how you look at it now.
Yeah, exactly. But you're right, Ian. We talked a little bit about it earlier. There's a melancholy undertone to this show. It's still really funny and really enjoyable. I was telling Jack that this was one of the shows that my wife will actually watch with me, and that's awesome. Because there's very few shows, including Andy Griffith, that she really doesn't want to watch with me. But this is one, and I think it's because the kids are so darn cute.
No, they definitely are.
All right, so let's do a little trivia, and we will. I know Ian, you've done this with me before, but Jack, what I tend to do is I let them answer the questions in the chat, and then we provide the answer afterwards.
Okay.
And I'll let you guys answer as well and give it your best shot.
Okay.
Being the nostalgia experts that you are, I'm sure these won't be too hard. But I do have to. I've got a super chat here from Larry Potter, and so obviously I've got to stop everything and just I wish I had some sort of bullhorn sound or something just to say thank you to Larry. And let's pay attention to the comment here. Larry says it's questionable regarding whether or not Brian Keith did commit suicide. Maureen O'Hara, his co-star in The Parent Trap, does not believe it was suicide. And then I guess you have to ask the question then, if it wasn't suicide, was there, what
Foul
was it?
play.
Because there was a note,
Right.
right? Because there was a note. So, I don't know what to root for on that one. Yeah, I really don't know. Yeah, the sad part is he's gone, and there are folks that call it the family affair curse. I like to call it the curse of Mrs. Beasley, going back to my initial assertion that the doll is evil of the most kind. I also have to, before we get started, I got to say thank you to Sparky as well. A $5 super chat. That is so very kind of you, Sparky. And Sparky, they say, in its first run, this show was past my bedtime on the East Coast. Me too. That was the thing is folks were trying to put me to bed long before that show was on. So I caught it in reruns in the early 70s. Sparky says that he'd see it or they'd see it when they visited their grandparents in the Central Time Zone. So, awesome. Thank you for sharing your memories. And, grandparents are awesome. I got away with more crap with grandparents than, that's the great thing about grandparents. Jack, you mentioned that you're just getting into the grandparent phase. Remember that. You got to spoil those kids rotten.
They're already spoiled.
That's awesome. All right. One other one before we get going here. Dave Neesner says, speaking of love, is your son Spencer still grounded from his comments last time around Andy Griffith? Last time, believe it or not, my son Spencer decided to jump on the live stream and make some not so awesome comments about Andy Griffith, disparaging comments, one might even say. And here's the problem. It's really hard to ground a 21-year-old. So,
oh no,
so we did have a talk though afterwards, and I let him know that how misguided he was. All right, let's get rocking and rolling. Is everybody ready? I'm hoping everybody is ready. Got your family affair thinking caps on. 69 folks in the live stream with us right now are ready for action. And I haven't said hi to Daryl Johnston. Good to have you with us, Daryl. If I've missed anyone else, my sincerest apologies. The Life and Sad Ending does make an interesting comment that I feel like I must address before we get going, which is he says that Andy turned mean in the later episodes, and he absolutely, I don't like to say mean, but there is a difference between early Andy and later Andy on the Andy Griffith Show, or I like to think of it as black and white Andy and color Andy. And I really think he was just grumpy because Don wasn't on the show anymore.
Yeah.
He didn't have any plans to. The show was supposed to run for 5 seasons. CBS threw way too much money at him, and so he stayed on. And Don did not. He had a movie contract, and he hit Andy up for hey, let's share in some of the great money that CBS is offering, and Andy wasn't prepared to do that, and so Don went his way. And I think Andy was just a little bit grumpy and miserable all the way to the bank during those later seasons. Sparky, thank you again. I believe that fun fact very much, my friend. And let me throw in the chat one more time, the URL to the poll, which is Mrs. Beasley, friend or foe. Please, folks, we'll look at the end result of the poll at the end of the live stream. 80 people with us as we begin the trivia quiz. And one last thank you to Sparky for the super chat. That's awesome. Totally unexpected, but super appreciated. All right. Question number 1. What is Bill Davis's occupation? Jack, Ian, hang on. Hold on. Don't say anything for a minute or so. Not really a minute. We'll go like 15, 20 seconds before we move forward, though. The choices are architect, doctor, engineer, or lawyer. Here's what early on when I was a kid, I didn't pay much attention to that stuff. But what I knew was he was rich.
Yeah, he had money.
He had that fancy penthouse apartment. He had the butler. He had all sorts of, early on, all sorts of ladies that were vying for his attention.
Is this Different Strokes?
It's like a little bit, doesn't it? I think I saw earlier in the comments, if I could scroll up and find it fast, I would. In the comments, I think I saw Terrell mention that it really did feel like Different Strokes, and it was kind of the follow-up to this show, because of the way that show was set up as well. I got another super chat from Sparky. Thank you so much, Sparky. Sparky says, the show was melancholy, but like the blues and music, it made people not feel all alone with their own troubles. Yeah, that's a really good, and there was still a lot of fun there, right? But that's really that's words of wisdom, my friend, and thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for sharing in the chat. All right, with that, anybody want to throw a guess out there? What was Bill? An architect, doctor, engineer, or lawyer?
I say engineer.
Ian?
I know what he was. I concur. An engineer is a civil engineer.
He was a civil engineer. That is correct. Okay. And as I was setting it up, I thought about putting civil engineer, but here's the problem with doing that. It's so specific. People will know that that's the correct answer.
Yeah. Well, you got to put, instead of doctor, you got to put like gynecologist or something like that, and civil engineer. And then
by the way, we'll talk about this at the end, but Ian loved the Ed Grimley video. Loved the Ed Grimley video.
Thank you. Thank you.
What is the name of the doll? Now, if anybody misses this, who is Buffy's friend?
Well, Mrs. Sunshine would be a better name.
Yeah. So we can enjoy the various names. Mrs. Beasley, Mrs. Peachtree, Mrs. Popperly, or Mrs. Sunshine. Yeah.
Yeah.
We know that answer is Beasley. So here's what I'm going to do before we move on to the next one. Anybody want to throw out there? Well, let's wait one more, and then I'll ask everybody how they are doing in the chat. Where did Bill Davis live? Was he in Boston, Chicago, LA, or New York? As a kid, I would know that was a big city. He was in the big city. But now that I'm older and rewatching the show, it's very clear where Bill Davis lives. Although I got to say, man, sometimes when they're wandering the streets, it looks more like Mayberry than where he actually lives. And that's because I think a lot of the filming was done on a studio lot.
I don't have a clue on this one. I mean, something's jumping out at me, but I don't know. I mean, I would just be a guess in the dark for me.
We'll give folks a minute or two more to guess, and then we will give the answer. I'm seeing a lot of folks saying, I see Charlie Jordan saying Boston. I see Larry Potter saying New York. Tom says Chicago. Jack, do you know the answer to this question?
It's New York.
Yeah, it definitely is New York. It's Manhattan to be exact, but New York. All right.
It's New York.
It's New York.
You knew it the whole time.
Yeah, I knew you. I know you did. You gotta let other people answer the questions though sometimes, right, Ian?
Right.
Okay, let's stop right there for a second. And I'm seeing folks are already putting in their scores. Thrash Pondo's 2 of 3. Todd Fowler's 3 of 3. Lamont Bradford, 3 of 3, hitting the 100% mark. Anyone else want to share their score before we move on to the next question? Nick Mamona says, I got all 3. Charlie Jordan says he's guessing on a lot of these. Georgia Ayers says she's got, and I think that she's trying to say that she has 2 there. She says 2 food, but I'm thinking, there we go. 2 for 3. That was dreaded autocorrect in action. Emily Miller's 1 of 3. Kevin Pines 3 of 3. Let's see. Mark Burchett's got 3 icons, 3 emojis going that says Utah. Oh, that's his guess. No, it wasn't Utah. No, not Pleasant Grove and not Case.
Just a bit off there.
Yep, just a little bit off. Sparky's 3 of 3. Raven Poe, welcome. Good to have you with us. RP 3 of 3. Georgia Ayers is 2 of 3. Cindy D's 3 for 3. Tyrell's 3 of 3. Custom God is 0. Well, this might just not be your show. Mark Burchett is 2 of 3. Dr. Quizler, 1 of 1, but he just came in, so he's batting 100%. A train fanatic, not familiar with the show, go ahead and guess. You can be right up there with Custom God. It's okay. There's no shame, whether you're 3 of 3 or 0 for 3. Tom's 2 of 3. Emily never watched the show. Jim Backus is 3 of 3. Phrased Eyebrow, welcome. Good to have you with us, even if you're tardy. Start playing now. Charlie Jordan's 1 of 3, and David Neesner's 2 of 3. Let's go on to the next question here. All right. Oh, man, did I just do that? Oh, which Brady Bunch actor did not make an appearance on the show? Was it Barry Williams, Eve Plum, Robert Reed, or did they all? And if you were sharp enough to see my I got a little antsy there and hit the button too many times, but the answer already showed up. But we'll wait a minute or two more and let folks go ahead and guess. And if you saw it, well, consider this your free space spot on your bingo board. So while we're waiting, Jack, what got you into doing YouTube? Tell me a little bit about you, why you're doing the YouTube thing.
Well, my son and I podcast we're still podcasting for a number of years. Started with the Lost podcast, the TV show Lost, and had a lot of fun with that. And it got me out of my shell because I don't like normally doing this type of stuff. And now I'm kind of comfortable with it, but he got me going on it. We did the Lost podcast, did other TV shows. And then I just started watching different YouTube stuff. And I said, I'll give that a try because I was going to do a Lost rewatch. And basically that's how it started. I'm just having fun with it, like you, the technology, kind of learning it as we go along, and always proud of myself when I get a good edit. Yeah. It's like, hey, I did it. But I got a side by side. Wow, I did that. So luckily there's YouTube where I can, find out how to do these things. But and I love talking about TV and movies, and because that's what I grew up,
Well, I've really enjoyed watching your videos. I told you earlier before we started filming or live streaming, I loved your video on the Warriors. And when we do a live stream on the Warriors, you're coming back. You got to come back, and we got to talk.
I will definitely come back and talk about the Warriors.
Well, I got to have you on my show too, if you don't mind. I just subscribed to your channel, and I saw that you have an email. I'll contact you through email, and I'd love to get you on the show. We're gonna get Mr. Sundstrom back for a third time as well too.
All right. Now
that Rob Bacon's saying he's going to go make some popcorn, it's time to move on. So he probably knows the answer to this anyway. But here we got Sherry Hefner. Welcome. Good to have you with us. Says Robert Reed played a teacher. He called the twins brats and up Sissy. You had a crush on him. So we know it's not Robert Reed. And we know if you're a Family Affair fan, there's a classic episode with Eve Plum where she's dying.
Yeah.
Again, going back to the whole
another happy episode.
Yeah, another happy episode of Family Affair. But Barry Williams never showed up. Barry Williams was never in that particular show. That is the correct answer. And Mal Havoc, by the way, who's here. First time I've seen Mal in the live stream. Welcome. Great to have you with us. Matt Sweeney's also here. Good to have you with us as well. But that scene. Warriors come out to play. Yes. There's another scene where he's buying that guy. I can't remember his name. Mark something or other, I think. But he's buying something in a convenience store that's just crazy funny.
Yeah.
I can watch that. You mentioned in your video that you watch that every year.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it every year, but I need to watch it every year just so that I can remember that Michael Beck was cool once. And then he did Xanadu, which I love, but he's not cool.
Yeah, I'd take a pass on Xanadu.
Love the music. Love the music. And Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Olivia Newton-John.
You cannot. You cannot.
I was a one and done on Xanadu.
So was my wife. And unfortunately, I dragged her to they made it into a play.
Oh, did they?
Oh, no.
Yeah, they made Xanadu into a Broadway play. And there was a traveling version here in Utah, and I dragged her to that. Poor lady. I mean, the fact she's been married to me for almost 30 years, 30 years this year.
Wow.
Nice.
Congratulations.
I cannot believe it. Yeah. Well, congratulations to me and condolences to her. I mean, she's had to deal with as much crap as she's had to deal with over the years. I don't understand it. Question 5. What is the name? Here's the one we were getting to earlier. Before you joined Ian, I think Jack mentioned that there was a substitute for a while that came in and substituted for Mr. French because Sebastian Cabot wasn't there. And what was the name of Mr. French's brother? Was it Earl, Giles, Niles, or Stanley? So hold off. We'll let folks in the chat give their answers. And then we will, let's see. I know you guys probably, you might know, I know Jack probably knows the answer. Ian sounds like he's thinking. But I may let Steve, our friend from The Life and Sad Ending, share the answer because the correct, oops, I did it wrong here. There we go. The correct answer is Niles French, played by actor John Williams, but not the John Williams from Star Wars. And by the way, just a little bit of useless trivia, not the Johnny Williams, who was the composer of the Star Wars music, that was also the composer of the initial music for Gilligan's Island.
Oh, wow.
That's right, yes.
Yes, indeedy. All right, Giles was the name of Victor French, Sebastian Cabot's character, and Niles was his brother, much like Niles is Fraser Crane's brother.
Niles has that butler name.
Yeah, really does. All right, we'll do one more question, then see how everybody's doing. So there's the answer. Yep, question 6 out of 10. How many seasons did Family Affair run? We'll let folks answer here. See if anybody's new in the chat that I haven't said hello to. I think I said hi to Dr. Quisler. If I haven't, hello. Good to have you with us. Christopher Kraft. Holy cow. Love that guy. He's awesome. Good to have you here this evening. Mayor Greenblatt, welcome. He says the Warriors are great, but so are the Wanderers. I didn't see that movie. Did anybody see the movie The Wanderers? I think it was about a 50s musical band or something like that.
I don't know.
I know I saw it. It came out about the same time, I believe.
You might have. I haven't seen that. That's something that every once in a while I'll read a comment and it'll get me curious. I'm going to have to check that one out. Let's see. IMDb says that Niles was Nigel's nickname. Interesting. Daryl Johnston says that The Wanderers was a good movie. Or maybe he's talking about the Warriors. I don't know. But either of you want to throw a guess out there on the number of seasons that Family Affair ran?
I'm going to guess 5.
Yeah.
You
what I was thinking.
Guessed correctly. 5 is the correct answer.
All right.
Okay, Thrash Pond says that The Wanderers is about New York gangs in the 50s and Ken Wall was in it. That rings a bell.
All right.
Yeah. Question 7. Well, let's see how folks are doing. Before we get moving, let's see how folks are doing. And while we wait, go ahead and post your scores, folks. Let's see how you're doing from the first 6 questions. I'll just put this up on the screen. Not only did Johnny Williams write some music for Gilligan's Island at the beginning of that series, but he wrote the 3rd and last season theme for Lost in Space. So, Johnny, also known as John Williams, might not call it some of his best stuff, but as a fan of classic TV, I think it's pretty darn good.
Okay.
Let's see how the scores are doing here. We've got Mal Havoc's got Mal Havoc guessed correctly, 5 seasons. Atran Fanatic says 4 of 6. Todd Fowler's 5 of 6. Lamont Bradford rocking the house with 6 of 6. George's 5 of 6. Emily's 3 of 6. Terrell's 6 of 6. Of course you are, Terrell. Cindy D 6 for 6. Custom God is still 0. At this point, I'm kind of hoping you get 0 the whole way through. It's kind of, if you're gonna go out and if you're going to burn, go out in flames. Yeah. I love it. Sparky, 6 of 6. Let's see where we are. TP, Thrash Pondo Ponds, 5 of 6. Chris Kraft, 4 of 6. Charlie Jordan, 5 of 6. Dave Neesner, 5 of 6. Nick Malmonis has gotten 4 correct. Mark Burchett, 5 of 6. Sonia Storer Johnson, welcome to the live stream. She's got 5 so far. Terrell, let's see, we up 6 of 6. Hungry Jerk, 4 of 6. Charlie Jordan says, sorry, 4 of 6. Dr. Quizler's 3 of 4. All right. And the the season's question got Dr. Quizler. So let's get moving. Let's see which Andy Griffith actor made multiple appearances on the show. This was something I didn't remember until I started rewatching this show recently, and then I caught her. I'll give a hint on. Oh wait. You gave
it away, brother.
I gave it away. Don't listen to me.
Is it Don Knotts?
You. It might be Don Knotts.
The Ghost of Mr. Chicken episode. I think that's what it is.
Absolutely. Ron Howard was Cody's best friend on the show. Or no, maybe he was dating Sissy. He was a little bit older at that point. Certainly wasn't Andy. That's what Mal Havoc says. Yeah, I think most of you got that the correct answer is Betty Lynn, mostly because I said she. What was I thinking? Man, I'm giving away too many of these questions. All right.
Too many Diet Cokes.
Yeah. Too many Diet Cokes. Well, you don't know how true that is. This Diet Coke right here, this is probably Diet Coke number 4 or 5 of the day. So times that by 12, we're in the. Oh, and I went to the convenience store and got a 32-ouncer. So I'm nearing 100 ounces of Diet Coke.
Yeah.
It's a horrible habit. Horrible habit. Okay. Who was the first actress to die after the show ended? I'm not going to give this one away. We talked about the passing of.
I think I know who this one, but I'll save it. But I think I know who it was.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'll let you answer it in just a minute here, Ian.
Okay.
You give it first guess. But was it Anissa Jones, Brian Keith, Johnny Whitaker, or Sebastian Cabot? If you've been here with us throughout the entire live stream, you know one of those answers is immediately not correct because we talked about one of those individuals still being with us and doing some incredible work. So I'm seeing a lot of answers in the chat. The Life and Sad Ending says Barry Williams. Steve, you're a funny guy. I need to get you on this live stream. I've asked you before. One of these days, my friend, you need to join us here on the live stream. 83 people with us. I mean, it's a huge, huge group of people to hang out with us while we talk about the good stuff. And Daryl Johnson says, yeah, Barry Williams. It's not one of your choices, people. Ian, what's the correct answer?
See, I think it's Sebastian.
You know what? A lot of people are going to say that because...
Was he the one that had the stroke?
Yes, sir. But
it's not him, huh? It wasn't him.
Not. Sadly, it was Anissa.
Oh, okay.
He died a few months before Sebastian. So, she's just young.
I would guess Sebastian, too.
Yeah. That's the natural choice to think that it was him, even though he died, I think it was 59. He was 59, relatively young. But Anissa was so much younger, right? 18 years old.
Yeah.
The little girl, Mal Havoc, you're right. All right, let's see how folks are doing before we go to question 9. Let's see. Mark Campbell, welcome. Good to have you with us. He says, I would like to see Dave have live chats on these shows, and he's going to provide some suggestions for me down the road here. We haven't gotten to those yet, but feel free to suggest. I always love to kind of one of the fun things when I get suggestions, whether it's about making future videos or things like live stream topics, is it kind of takes me down a rabbit hole, right? One that I might not go down otherwise, because my go-tos are the Twilight Zone, Andy Griffith, Star Trek, and Batman, Adam West version, of course.
Oh yeah.
Let's do a Batman one soon.
We do need to do a Batman one.
And listen, you have to do a Dukes of Hazzard one, man. I've been itching on that one.
Let's do Dukes before we do Batman.
Okay.
That would be awesome. A-Tram Fanatic is 4 of 8. Carell's 8 of 8. Charlie Jordan 5 of 7. Todd Fowler 7 of 8. Raven Poe, you can't be 8 of 9. We haven't had 9 yet. But I'm going to say you're going to be 7 of 8. Sparky 7 of 8 as well. Georgia Ayers is 5 of 8. Charlie Jordan says 5 of 8. Tom's missed 3 so far. Dr. Quizler says, I remember when the story broke about Anissa Jones. I remember that one as well. Really super sad. Emily Miller's 5 of 8. Nick Mamonis is 6 of 8. Cindy D is 8 for 8. Awesome, with my help. Yeah, I've kind of helped a little bit tonight. Mark Burchett, 6 of 8. Lamont Bradford, 7 of 8. Let's see. Sonia Storer Johnson, 7 of 8. Mal Havoc, we've talked about Mrs. Beasley being scary. Oh, well, okay. Chat moved on me there. Yes, freaking scary, evil, malevolent. What else can I say? And A-Tran Fanatic says, yeah, we got to do something on Dukes of Hazzard. And Thrash Pondo Ponza 7 of 9. All right, let's keep going. Oh, wait. One more. Custom God says still at 0. You keep rocking that.
Right.
My friend.
2 more.
Keep rocking that.
Shoot the moon.
0.
Shoot the moon, buddy. They call that shoot the moon in cards, by the way. I know you guys don't play cards, but when you do play cards, they call it, if you get nothing, they call it.
Oh, I play plenty of cards, my friend.
Do you play hearts?
I do play hearts. And one of these days, if I'm ever in your neck of the woods, do you ever play Pinochle?
I have. It's been a while, though. It's been a while, but I used to play Pinochle, yeah.
Love me the Pinochle. Oh, we've got some comedians here. Rob Aiken's 10 of 10. And Steve from The Life and Said Ending says, like golf, I just don't keep score. All right, let's keep going here. Next question is, how old are the twins when they come to live with Uncle Bill?
Oh, man.
This one's, it's almost a not fair question. I had to look it up myself when I came up with the trivia quiz. I wasn't quite certain what was the actual age, so I had to look it up. This is going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one for folks.
Well, I'm stuck between 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's fairly, yeah. Ian, how's the weather out there in sunny St. George?
It's windy.
Oh, is it?
It's really, really windy. You'd be surprised. I was had to wear a jacket today.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's crazy. You should be in the 80s by now.
It's that darn wind cooling it off. Otherwise, I think it would be.
Yeah.
But we've had some wind. But oh well. I mean, look, it's going to be hot plenty of time, so I'm all good on it not being hot.
What's North Carolina get like? Does it get super hot in the summertime?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's hot, humid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm from originally San Diego, so I get that dry heat. But there is a difference between dry heat and wet heat. I mean,
speaking of San Diego, I don't think there's a finer place weather-wise, climate-wise than San Diego.
It's the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have any seasons though. I mean, it's just the
Yeah.
same every day.
Yeah. Darn it all. It's just pleasant.
Yeah. 72, 73.
5 is the correct answer. The twins were 5 when they came to live with us.
That was going to be my guess.
That was going to be mine too.
Nicely done.
I was stuck between 5 and 6, but I was going to
Nicely done. One of the suggestions Mark Campbell has is a live chat on Green Acres or Petticoat Junction. Are you guys playing those shows?
I loved them both, and the theme songs are the best too.
I do too.
They really are.
I've really wanted to record that theme song with my wife for Green Acres. I have reversed the roles. So I actually tried to find the guitar chords one time so we could do that. I got to get that done here pretty soon.
Hey, Jack, Emily wants to know where you're living in North Carolina. Didn't you say Raleigh?
Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Raleigh.
I always say I'm just visiting. It's been almost 20 years. I'm still a California boy at heart. So.
I hear you. Regardless of where I live, I will always feel like I'm from Utah, right? There's just kind of, you have your hometown.
Even though I wasn't born in California, but it's my hometown.
Yep. Everybody has one. All right, final question. Did I make it tough? I can't remember if I made this tough or not. Let's see. How did the children's parents die? So the choice.
Mrs. Beasley killed them.
Right. That should be in there. I don't know what I was thinking.
Homicide. It's right there.
Exactly.
Earthquake while volunteering in South Africa. That's got to be it. No.
So your choices are car crash, earthquake, while volunteering in South America, homicide by Mrs. Beasley's evil, malicious hands, or they didn't. Parents abandoned their children. Can we make the show any more sad? I want to know.
It's like an episode, but I mean, it's the same thing.
That's right. Here's the funny thing. The DVD incorrectly says, like the box set says it was a plane crash. It was not.
Really?
Yeah. Someone didn't do their research.
Their due diligence.
Car crash, leaving the children homeless. And they, if I remember the way the first episode sets it up, the children are all funneled out to various members of the family. And Uncle Bill gets none of them because he's off traveling the world in his who knew that civil engineer was such a glamorous world traveling role, but it clearly is. He goes all over the place. Peru, Afghanistan, just all over the place. All right, let's see final scores. Cindy D points out that Chucky killed them. It could have been Chucky. I mean, he might have been over there visiting visiting the Mrs. Beasley, his girlfriend. But yeah, let's see final scores here. Let's see what we got going on. Let me move out of this page.
Hey, Terrell.
Yep, we got 9 of 10 for Terrell. Matt Sweeney came in late, but got 2 of 10. So if he came in late, you didn't get 2 of 10. You got 2 correctly, whatever. Let's see. RP got 8 of 10. Great score. Georgia got 6 of 10. Thrash Pondo says miscalculated 7 of 10.
Hey, Thrash.
Oh, custom.
You didn't shoot the moon.
You choked it.
Yeah, now I'm upset. Nick Mamonis got 7. Todd Fowler got 8 of 10. Mark Burchett got 7 of 10. Sonia Storer Johnson got 8 of 10. Good job. Charlie Jordan, 6 of 10. A Tran Fanatic, 5 of 10. Let's see. Dave Niesner got 8 of 10. And let's see. Emily thinks she got 5 of 10. Dr. Quizler got 6 of 8 or maybe 7 of 8. Who knows? Lamont got 7 of 9. And Cindy D, 9 for 10. So lots of great scores this evening. Thank you to everyone who played along with us. I just got to say, wonderful show. Wonderful, wonderful show. There's just so many. I'm not one of those people that says that there's nothing good on TV anymore. There are some great TV shows that are being made, great entertainment, whether it's on one of the, the main networks or, Netflix or something like that. But boy, am I grateful for channels like MeTV, or in the case of Family Affair, I'm watching it on Tubi right now. And if you have a streaming player or you have a computer or you have a handheld device, you can download the Tubi app, and it's completely free. You have to deal with some commercials every once in a while, although the episode I watched last night came in commercial free. Thank you, Tubi. I appreciated that.
Awesome.
Yes. But, you can watch episodes of Tubi or episodes of Family Affair on Tubi. I'm also watching, and I did a video on this not too long ago, the Doris Day Show again. I'm rewatching that show, which is just the weirdest show because they change basically the premise of the show every season. It just morphs and changes. And she starts out with 2 kids, and by the time season 4 and 5 roll around, the kids are gone and never mentioned again. Kind of like Chuck Cunningham from Happy Days. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The Chuck Cunningham syndrome. And yes, Emily Miller points out correctly that where is that?
I think that happened on 8 is Enough too.
Yeah,
they just something with the pregnancy or something, and then it just changed. Like the kid was gone or something like that. I know that happened on 8 is Enough, where it was just they just completely, yeah.
The mother died, or the actress who played the mother died. And so they brought in Abby. And there may have been some other ones as well. That wasn't a show that I watched a ton of. I gotta say again, Sparky, you're just crazy tonight. You're just crazy with the super chats, and I really do appreciate them. Sparky says Hoover was an engineer and spent most of his time abroad before going into politics. There was a shortage of engineers worldwide for decades. So maybe that's one of the reasons why it was portrayed as such a glamorous type of a role. I think to myself, I know a lot of engineers in my neighborhood now, and I don't really think of it as, that kind of role that causes you to have this huge apartment in Upper Manhattan, but maybe it's the whole supply and demand thing there. If there weren't that many of them out there, maybe they were highly compensated back in the day. So thank you, Sparky. All right, let's see what else we got here. So my plug for Tubi, also not sponsored by Tubi, not sponsored by Diet Coke, not sponsored by Remind Magazine, sponsored by YouTube. So thank you, YouTube, and thank you, StreamYard, for providing the technology to make this live stream happen tonight. As long as let's move into shameless self-promotion mode. I'll promote a couple of videos that I've got. If you're a fan of Family Affair, I've got a video out there on my channel about Kathy Garver, and I've got another video, probably one of my favorite videos, about Johnny Whitaker and just the rise and fall and then rise again of this incredible actor. So, if you get a chance, when I actually post the replay of this video, those will be the 2 videos that you can link on when the live stream ends. But if you get a chance, check them out. I think they're definitely worth watching. Crazy Hank, talk to me about your channel, my friend.
Basically, I do movies, TV, and stuff like that. Sometimes they're serious. Sometimes I might stretch the truth on some of them. I have Ron Howard killing Chuck and his brother Chuck in the episode. But I lay it out I think I do a pretty good job of laying it out, making a case for it. But yeah, I have a lot of fun with it. And if you're into TV, movies, and I'm sure you are because you listen to you watch Dave and stuff. So yeah, check me out. Crazy Hank TV.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I've had a lot of fun going back and watching a handful of your videos. People, if you're a fan of the Warriors, start with that. What's Wrong with the Warriors movie? Great video. And
I also forgot to, if you're a fan of The Leftovers, I'm currently doing a Leftovers rewatch on Sunday nights at 9.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. And Ian, you want to talk about your channel?
Yes, it's Retro Serial. It's Growing Up Generation X, everything that influenced us. And what else? That Ed Grimley one's doing pretty good. Thank you for promoting it. And I just did a podcast, again, with Thrash Ponzo Pons, talking about book versus movie. And this time we talked about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Love those books. Douglas Adams classics.
Yeah, lots of fun. Please subscribe.
I love that. I love the name. I love the name.
It's been through a couple iterations. It was originally called Cereal for Dinner because it was going to be a podcast, but then there was somebody else who had it, and I didn't want the trouble. So, long story longer. No. I have the talent of running at the mouth, so I can take any short story and just make it really long. But it ended up being Retro Serial. So
I love it. That's a great name.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll contact you for sure.
Okay. Sounds good.
Hey, I saw something else here. Let's see. Where was that? It was my friend Danny Staten. He's Danny, we got to get you on here. I'm happy to have you get on here and shamelessly self-promote.
For sure. Danny, come on.
We love love reading your comments and love what you're doing over on your channel. So there's a little shameless self-promotion for Danny. He's got a couple of channels. There's the Daily Dan blog, and then there's this newer channel, Daily Dan's Good Stuff, which Daily Dan's Good Stuff is Daily Dan's The Good Stuff is kind of like you'll just find some old trailers, and I've got a channel that I call Forgotten Media, and it's similar to that. And just, you're going to see things that you maybe saw when you were a kid and haven't seen since. So it's kind of fun to go back and just scour through the archive. So good work as well to everyone who joined us. Well, first off, thanks, Jack. Thanks, Ian. Really appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. It was a blast.
Yeah, really good time. Love visiting with both of you guys.
Absolutely.
Like minds, right? I love it. It's always fun to visit with someone who has similar loves and passions. But thank you to everyone who joined us. We've had a great live stream, upwards of 80 plus people almost the entire time during the live stream tonight. So thanks to everybody that came on, that contributed to the chat, which is so critical and so important. I've got to say thank you to the folks that dropped in super chats. That was incredible. Again, unexpected, but totally appreciated. And what I would encourage everyone to do is check out these channels. Continue to watch the videos on my channel, because you really, during these times, chaotic times, where there's nothing better than going back and just kind of reflecting and reminiscing, getting a little nostalgic about music, movies, and television from decades gone by. The good stuff. So thanks again to everybody. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Ian.
Thank you, Dave.
Me this evening on the live stream.